All right, wrap it up. Retirees are Stephen Fulton. You are finished. Stephen Fulton, you've made a complete fucking joke of this fight against Liam Wilson. And you know what? This card as well. This card has taken another massive, massive hit. Stephen Fulton this morning set to make the 130-pound weight division, 130 pounds. Yesterday, he requested to Liam Wilson's team that they put it to 135 pounds. They reach an agreement to have a 133-pound catch weight. So you think, all right, if he wants 135 pounds, that's the weight he's going to make. Even if he's over, he's going to be around 134, 135. This guy turns up this morning to weigh in and is weighed in at 139.5 pounds. 9.5 pounds over the initial weight limit. This fight, all right, during the week, first of all, it was promoted to the co-main event after Jamal Charlo, and then it was promoted to a WBA title eliminator fight, and this guy here rocks up and weighs in 9.5 pounds over the weight limit, makes a complete mockery of the event, makes a complete mockery of Liam Wilson, and everything around, like the simple fact is, this card was announced a few months ago, Australia versus America, the biggest card on Australian soil. That has been reduced to absolute fucking tatters now because we had Errol Spence versus Tim Tszyu, we had Jamal Charlo versus Kyle Mazudia, we had Liam Wilson taking on Stephen Fulton. That has now been reduced to Errol Spence versus Tim Tszyu. I have nothing against Jamal Charlo. Jamal Charlo, what happened to him was completely out of his control. That is completely up to the Australian government. They denied his visa. There's not much anybody can do about it. There's nothing Jamal Charlo can do. He was ready. He was there to get on the plane. At the same time as Errol Spence was getting on the plane, I believe, held up at LAX, not allowed in the country. What the fuck are you going to do? What the fuck are you going to do? It's unfortunate. For me personally, I wanted to go and watch Jamal Charlo. I know many people did want to go and watch Jamal Charlo. And then for Stephen Fulton to rock up today and weigh 9.5 pounds over the weight limit and think that Liam Wilson and his team are just going to agree to it, it's the right decision by Liam Wilson because Liam Wilson's prepared to fight at 130 pounds. Why give your opponent a 10-pound weight advantage? All right? It's unbelievable. I'm not sure whether Stephen Fulton attempted to make weight this morning or didn't attempt to make weight. If he didn't at all attempt to make weight, that would explain the 139 pounds. If he tried to make weight and he still ended up 139 pounds, that's even bigger of a problem. But I would gather Stephen Fulton knew he wasn't going to make 133 pounds. Says, I'm not even going to go to the effort of trying to, and we're just going to weigh in what we weigh in. The fight will be cancelled and we keep moving. And that's such a poor thing to do, especially because, talking from a personal aspect, all right, and as many Australians do, I know the Americans and the UK fight fans, they're very, very privileged. All right, you get the mega fights once a month. All right, even sometimes twice a month. Sometimes there's two mega events on one weekend. For us Australians, it is so far and in between. And this here was supposed to be a mega card. I know some of these guys we haven't seen in a while. Some of these guys aren't at their peak. All right, Spence we haven't seen in a few years. Charlo's been in and out. Stephen Fulton just got his ass kicked by Shock. But for us Australians, this was a massive card. And the fact that Jamal Charlo hasn't been allowed in, unfortunate. The fact that Stephen Fulton hasn't taken it seriously at all is fucking pathetic. Now, in terms of Stephen Fulton, it makes it even worse because this isn't the first time in recent times that he's done this. December, he was supposed to take on Shock Foster. He did take on Shock Foster. Now, when he was going to take on Shock Foster, they were supposed to be fighting at 130 pounds. It was his move up from 126 pounds for Stephen Fulton. He was moving up from 126 to 130. Misses weight, weighs in at 132 pounds. They end up fighting a dealed fight at 135 pounds. So, against Shock Foster, fails to make weight. Not only does he fail to make weight, but he gets absolutely destroyed by Shock Foster. Landslide victory to Shock Foster. Shock was very good on the night, but Stephen Fulton was really, really shit on the night as well. So, you didn't turn up for that fight, nor at the weigh-in, nor on fight night. Today, you didn't show up for the weigh-in properly, and you're not going to be showing up on fight night. So, for Stephen Fulton, I think it's, you either knuckle down or you retire because you make a mockery of everything, don't you? Like, there is so many Australian fight fans that I know that have paid a lot of money to come and watch this event because they wanted to see Spence, they wanted to see Charlo, they wanted to see Fulton. And we've ended up with Spence versus Zoo. I believe Ahmed Redder versus Paul Fleming took the place of Charlo versus Mazudia. And now Paulo Acuso versus Luis Tejada is taking the place of Stephen Fulton versus Liam Wilson. So an absolute fucking joke from Stephen Fulton. Not the first time in recent years as well, which makes it even worse. I interviewed him at Grand Arrivals. All right. The video is up on the channel. You can go and check it out. You can see what Stephen Fulton is like. So I'm interviewing him. Look, I know I'm not a big deal, so he doesn't have to give me the time of day. And I get that. All right. Don't get me wrong. I'm not fucking one of these massive, I'm not Fight Hub TV or somebody like that. But either way, I was there on Fight Night. I had my stuff. Plenty of people gave very good interviews. Paulie Malignaggi, Sean Porter. All right. I've interviewed Tim Tszyu quite a few times. They all give you at least something. All right. I know they don't have to dedicate their whole day to you, but 5-6 minutes, I'm more than happy. Stephen Fulton, and I'm not the only one, by the way. I know other guys, bigger creators, that interviewed Stephen Fulton and had the same luck. Stephen Fulton, you ask him a question, just mumble, like it was as though he didn't want to be there. And like I said, I know I'm not a massive deal. He doesn't need to give me the time of day, but you are there to sell a fight. You are there to talk to, like you've made the trip out to Australia. You're there to talk to the Australian media and everything else. And I'm part of that in some tiny little aspect. But like I said, even bigger creators interviewed him and he didn't seem like he wanted to be there. And you follow that up by changing the weight to wanting 135 pounds, which is a joke, and then weighing in at 140 pounds. Unbelievable stuff. Look, the weigh-in is coming up later today, Errol Spence versus Tim Tszyu. I'm very intrigued to see what Errol Spence looks like on those scales and up against Tim Tszyu. We probably will make a video talking about it. I haven't watched the Tyson Fury fight that happened this morning. I believe there is highlights out there, so I'm going to go and find those and possibly make a video for later tonight. So make sure you are subscribed, you like the video. Let me know what your thoughts are on Stephen Fulton and what he needs to do. This card, unfortunately, has gone from Australia versus America to an Australian versus an American, and then a pretty poor card from that. And I feel bad. I feel bad for all the Australians that have spent a lot of money to travel to Sydney. And I believe those ticket sales were pretty heavy. I looked the other day, and I'm looking at $200-300 for the tickets. And that's right. If you're watching the 3 Americans, we're down to 1 American. So unfortunately, PBC and another No Limit card has been completely fucked up. And Stephen Fulton is the protagonist in that. Like I said, I have nothing against Charlo. It wasn't his choice. This was Stephen Fulton's choice. This guy did not train, did not get ready for this fight, and does not want to be here. Unfortunate. Guys, like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'm out of here, guys. See ya.